We saw the record broken for the first Tuesday, set at about 58,000 back in 2020. That has now been broken today, set at about 61,000. So as you can see, just another ripper start to the Australian Open.
Eala, the Filipino tennis star making waves around the world, has officially been invited back to Australia by the Australian president for a special exhibition match in Melbourne. And this is not just another tennis appearance. This is a powerful message about respect, influence, and the voice of the fans. Let's go back to how this started. When Eala competed at the Australian Open, something unforgettable happened. Thousands upon thousands of Filipino supporters showed up to watch her play. The atmosphere was unlike anything Melbourne had seen in a long time. Filipino flags filled the stands. Fans were chanting her name. The energy was emotional and intense. But there was one major problem. The stadium could not hold everyone. It was completely full. Thousands of loyal Eala supporters were left outside, unable to enter and watch their hero compete. They had traveled long distances, some even flying in from other countries just to see her play live. Now, move forward to today. The Australian president, fully aware of what happened during the Australian Open and recognizing just how popular Eala has become, decided to take action. He personally invited her back to Australia for a special exhibition match before her next tournament. This was not a decision made by the WTA. It was not arranged by tournament organizers. This was a direct move from the President of Australia to give the public what they clearly wanted, a real opportunity to see Eala on the court.
Tonight, we saw she was given a special security escort to Court 6 last night. There were thousands of Filipinos who tried to get a glimpse of the star on Court 6. Hundreds didn't manage to get in. There were, in fact...
And once again, the response was overwhelming. Thousands of Eala fans filled the streets of Melbourne, hoping to see her play. The excitement in the air was impossible to ignore. People were smiling, waving flags, taking photos, and celebrating her return. Despite serious planning and preparation, the stadium once again reached capacity, and once again, thousands of fans were left outside. The demand to watch Eala compete is that strong. Because of the massive crowds, the government provided security escort for her arrival at the venue. Authorities were not willing to take any risks with such large gatherings. That alone shows the scale of her popularity. When she finally stepped onto the court, she delivered. The crowd erupted. The energy inside the stadium was electric. Eala played with confidence and skill, giving fans exactly what they came to see: high-level tennis and the warm, genuine smile that has won hearts around the globe. However, this situation has also created some tension. Aryna Sabalenka, currently the #1 ranked player in the WTA, is reportedly unhappy about the special treatment Eala received. The president of Australia organized an exhibition match for Eala, provided government security, and honored her in a very public way. Meanwhile, Sabalenka, despite holding the top ranking in the world, has not received similar recognition. Let's be fair. Aryna Sabalenka is an outstanding athlete. She worked extremely hard to earn her #1 position. Her ranking reflects talent, dedication, and consistent performance. She absolutely deserves credit and respect. But what is happening with Eala is about something different. It is not simply about rankings. It is about connection. Eala is currently ranked 40th on the WTA list. That is actually 9 spots higher than where she stood during the Australian Open. She is improving. She is climbing. Still, rankings alone do not explain her impact. What makes Eala unique is her deep connection with her supporters, especially the global Filipino community. That community is huge, loyal, and incredibly proud of her achievements. She represents something bigger than statistics.
Had some incredible results and she's beaten players like Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek, so she's the real deal, already top 50 in the world.
Through all of this attention, Eala has remained humble. She has expressed sincere gratitude for the support she receives everywhere she travels. She understands that her success is not just personal. She carries the hopes of millions of Filipinos worldwide who see her as a source of pride and inspiration. Now let's talk about what sparked this presidential involvement in the first place. Novak Djokovic, one of the greatest players in tennis history, openly criticized the WTA for how they handled Eala's matches during the Australian Open. He questioned why a player with such a massive fan base was placed on smaller courts, where thousands of supporters could not even enter to watch. Djokovic made it clear. He said Alex Eala is the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced, and that she deserves full respect. According to him, the WTA did not manage the situation properly. He suggested that this handling may have even played a role in her first-round exit at the Australian Open. That is a serious claim coming from someone of his stature.
So things like that happen. I mean, it's you could argue that it was, maybe a poor schedule, and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's Alex Eala. That's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country. And
think about what Djokovic is saying. The environment where a player competes matters greatly. Court size, crowd energy, lighting, and overall atmosphere all affect performance, especially at a Grand Slam event. If a player draws thousands of supporters but is assigned to a smaller court where most of them cannot get inside, that creates unnecessary pressure. It changes the atmosphere. It limits the positive energy that player depends on. Djokovic's comments sparked conversations. Fans began questioning why one of the most talked-about players at the tournament was not given a bigger stage. Apparently, those concerns reached the Australian president as well. After witnessing the disappointment of thousands of fans who were unable to watch Eala compete, the president stepped in. He organized the exhibition match and ensured she had a proper stage to perform for her supporters. And yet, even with official backing and a specially arranged event, thousands still could not get into the stadium. That says everything about how quickly Alex Eala's popularity is growing. This level of fan devotion is rare in tennis. It goes beyond rankings. It goes beyond wins and losses. It is the kind of support that turns athletes into symbols. Alex Eala is becoming a symbol of Filipino pride on the global stage. That influence cannot be measured by the WTA chart alone. Since the Australian Open, she has continued improving. She moved from outside the top 50 to 41st in the world. That is meaningful progress. It proves she is not just popular, she is developing into a serious competitor. But this entire situation highlights a gap between official rankings and public demand. The WTA relies on rankings and seeding systems, which are important for competition. However, when a player consistently draws massive crowds and creates excitement that benefits the sport as a whole, flexibility may be necessary. The Australian president clearly understood that. He saw an opportunity to respect the fans and support a rising star. If Aryna Sabalenka feels overlooked, that reaction is understandable. But this moment is not about diminishing her accomplishments. It is about recognizing that tennis exists for the fans. When the fans speak loudly and consistently, their voices matter. Alex Eala's journey is still in its early stages. Ranked 40th and climbing, supported by millions of fans and defended publicly by Novak Djokovic, her future looks promising. The decision to bring her back to Melbourne was more than a gesture. It was recognition that something meaningful is happening in tennis. Alex Eala represents more than her current ranking. She represents connection, culture, and inspiration. And with every match she plays, she continues to shape a new chapter in the sport, one where passion and representation matter just as much as position on the leaderboard.